All right, let's dive into some drama today.
Oh, yeah.
We're going deep into the book of Malachi.
Okay.
It's a prophetic book in the Hebrew Bible.
Right.
And despite its short length, it really packs a punch.
Yeah, it really does.
We're looking at selections from the World English Bible Translation today.
All right.
And trust me, Malachi does not hold back.
Not at all.
So what's the mission of this deep dive?
I like that. Yeah.
We're going to unpack the prophet's fiery message.
Okay.
We're going to explore its relevance even thousands of years later. And we're going to see what it might say about our own lives.
Sounds good. Yeah.
So Malachi starts off with a bang.
Uh-huh.
He's declaring God's love for Israel,
Okay.
but then immediately hits them with a wave of disappointment.
Oh.
So what's going on there?
Well,
It seems like a bit of a mixed message, right?
it's this intense emotional tension that makes Malachi so compelling.
Yep.
When you say,
Yeah.
imagine being told, I love you,
Yeah.
but I'm deeply disappointed in you.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That would sting a little bit.
Yeah.
So why is God so disappointed?
Well, he feels the people, and particularly the priests, have turned away from him
Okay.
and are not honoring the covenant, the
Yeah.
sacred agreement that forms the bedrock of their relationship.
The covenant.
Yeah.
Can you remind us what that's all about?
Sure.
I feel like sometimes we throw that word around
Yeah,
without fully grasping its significance.
absolutely.
So in this context,
Yeah.
what is it?
Well, the covenant was a binding promise between God and the Israelites.
Okay.
God promised blessings and protection
Uh-huh.
in exchange for their faithfulness and obedience.
So a two-way street.
It's like a two-way street.
Yeah.
A commitment to uphold certain values
Okay.
and ways of life.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So how are the priests messing things up?
Oh, let me tell you.
What are they doing that's making God so upset?
Well, one of the biggest issues is their offering of unacceptable sacrifices.
What does that mean?
We're talking blind, lame, sick animals. Basically, the rejects.
Wait, really?
Yeah,
Offering subpar sacrifices to God?
they are.
That seems a little bold.
It definitely indicates a lack of genuine reverence, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, in their culture.
Yeah.
Offering a blemished animal was a serious offense.
Okay.
It's as if they were saying, this is good enough for God.
Wow.
But Malachi's reminding them
And us.
that
Yeah.
God deserves our very best.
So it's not just about the physical sacrifice itself.
That's right.
It's about the heart behind it.
Exactly.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
about recognizing God's holiness and worthiness.
Right.
And demonstrating that through our actions.
And that's interesting because that's a pretty universal concept, even outside of a religious context.
I think so too.
We all have relationships.
Right.
We need to show up and give our best,
Yes,
whether it's with family,
Go Sox.
friends, or even in our work.
I agree with you.
Yeah. God doesn't just express his disappointment verbally.
No,
He gets pretty creative with his imagery.
he does.
One of the most striking
Oh, yeah.
is when he threatens to spread dung on the priests' faces.
That's a good one.
I mean, talk about making a statement.
Oh, for sure.
What is the significance of that image?
Well, in ancient Israel, dung was considered ritually unclean.
Okay.
So this image would have been deeply shocking and offensive.
Wow.
It's a visceral representation of God's utter disgust at their actions.
So it's not just about the priests either.
No.
Malachi also tackles the issue of broken marriages.
He does.
He calls out the people for dealing treacherously with their wives,
Right.
for divorcing them unjustly,
Yeah.
and breaking the sacred bond of marriage.
Mm,
So Malachi is saying that honoring the covenant extends to our personal relationships as well.
I think that's right.
It's not just about the religious rituals, but about living with integrity in all areas of life.
Precisely. He's emphasizing that faithfulness, commitment, and respect
Yeah.
are fundamental values that should permeate every aspect of our lives.
So we've got a lot of disappointment and criticism so far.
Yeah, we do.
Is there any hope on the horizon?
Absolutely.
Okay.
While Malachi pulls no punches in his condemnation,
Right.
he also offers a path to redemption,
Good.
a way to turn things around and experience God's blessings.
Okay.
But that takes us to the next chapter.
All right. Well, let's take a deep breath and prepare ourselves for what's next.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
So we're moving into chapter 3 now.
Okay.
And this is where Malachi shifts gears a bit.
Okay.
He introduces this idea of a messenger
Uh-huh.
who will prepare the way for the Lord himself.
Ooh, intrigue.
Yeah.
Tell me more about this mysterious messenger.
Okay.
Who is it?
Oh,
And what are they preparing the way for?
Most scholars believe this messenger is referring to John the Baptist,
Okay.
who in Christian tradition came before Jesus
Yeah.
to announce his arrival
Huh.
and call people to repentance.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
And how is the Lord's arrival described?
It's pretty dramatic.
Yeah.
Malachi uses this powerful image
Yeah.
of a refiner's fire.
Oh.
So imagine
Yeah.
the heat, the intensity
Yeah.
of a furnace burning away impurities
Right.
to leave behind pure gold.
Wow, that's an intense image.
It is.
So it's not just about punishment then.
Right.
There's a purifying element to it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The refining process is tough,
Right.
but it ultimately results in something valuable and beautiful.
Okay.
It's about transformation and renewal.
You know, it's interesting,
Yeah.
this idea of refining fire. Reminds me of
Yeah.
those challenges we face in life that really test us,
Absolutely.
you know, that
Yeah.
push us to our limits.
Right.
But often it's
Yeah.
through those difficult experiences that we grow the most.
That's a great connection. Yeah.
And you know what's even more fascinating?
What's that?
God actually invites the people to put him to the test.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah,
He wants them to test him.
he does.
Really?
He challenges them to bring their tithes and offerings,
Okay.
promising to pour out blessings if they do.
Wow.
It's like he's saying,
Yeah.
don't just take my word for it.
Right.
See for yourselves if I don't keep my promises.
That's a pretty bold statement.
It is.
It really emphasizes the importance of trust, doesn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Malachi is encouraging the people to take a leap of faith,
Right.
to renew their commitment to the covenant,
Okay.
and experience the transformative power of God's blessings.
So there's definitely hope for those who are willing to turn back to God.
There is.
But Malachi doesn't let everyone off the hook, does he?
No, she doesn't.
As we move into the latter part of chapter 3,
Mm,
the tone shifts again.
he does.
Malachi addresses those who doubt God's justice,
Right.
those who are cynical and question the value of serving him. Mm-hmm.
It sounds like he's tapping into some pretty universal human emotions.
It does, doesn't it?
That sense of frustration when we see injustice in the world,
Exactly.
when bad things happen to good people.
He's acknowledging their pain,
Yeah.
their struggle to reconcile faith
Right.
with the realities of suffering and evil.
So how does he respond to these doubters?
He doesn't sugarcoat things.
Okay.
He contrasts the fate of the proud and wicked
Yeah.
with those who fear God.
Okay.
He paints a stark picture of judgment,
Right.
describing the wicked as stubble that will be burned up on the day of the Lord.
Okay, before we go any further,
Yeah.
can we pause for a second
Sure.
and talk about this day of the Lord?
Okay.
I think it's a phrase that gets thrown around a lot,
It does.
but I'm not always sure I fully understand what it means.
That's a good point.
So
Yeah.
in the Hebrew Bible,
Yeah.
what does that mean?
The day of the Lord can refer to a time of both judgment and salvation, a moment when God intervenes in human history to set things right.
So there's two sides to it.
There is.
Okay.
It's often associated with images of destruction and upheaval,
Right.
but also with the ultimate triumph of good over evil.
So it's not necessarily a specific day,
Right.
but more of a concept.
Exactly. It's a symbolic way of describing God's ultimate power and authority.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so back to Malachi.
Yeah.
He's talking about this day of the Lord
He is.
and the contrasting fates
Right.
of the righteous and the wicked.
Yes.
What happens?
He warns that the wicked will face destruction,
Okay.
while the righteous will experience healing and triumph.
Okay.
He uses this image
Yeah.
of the Son of Righteousness rising with healing in its wings.
That's a beautiful image.
It is, isn't it?
It's like even amidst the darkness,
Yeah,
there's this promise of light and restoration.
exactly.
And this brings us to the final chapter where
Yeah.
we see this thread of hope and reconciliation
Yeah,
woven even more prominently.
it is.
Tell me about chapter 4.
Okay.
What's the message there?
Well, Malachi ends with a prophecy
Uh-huh.
about the return of Elijah.
Okay.
A key figure in Jewish tradition,
Right.
Elijah's return,
Yeah.
is meant to prepare the way for the day of the Lord.
Okay.
But it's not just about fire and brimstone.
Oh.
No.
What else is it about?
Elijah's mission
Yeah.
is to turn the hearts of fathers and children towards each other,
Oh.
to heal broken relationships
Okay.
and restore harmony
Right.
within families and communities.
So there's this emphasis on reconciliation,
There is.
on bridging divides before the day of the Lord arrives.
Exactly.
It's like Malachi saying that our relationships with each other are just as important as our relationship with God.
That's a great insight.
And this message of reconciliation couldn't be more relevant today, could it?
I don't think so.
I mean, think about the divisions we see in our own world.
I know.
Political polarization, generational gaps,
Yeah.
cultural clashes.
It's like we're constantly battling each other.
And it makes you wonder,
It does.
what would Malachi say to us today?
He'd probably urge us to examine our own hearts,
Yeah.
to let go of anger and resentment,
Right.
and to seek common ground.
Okay.
He'd remind us that we're all part of the same human family,
Right.
bound together by a shared destiny.
And he might even challenge us to be peacemakers,
I think he would.
to bridge those divides and build a more just and compassionate world.
That's a powerful challenge.
It makes you think about how we can be agents of reconciliation in our own lives.
Absolutely.
And that takes us right to the end
Yes,
of the book of Malachi.
it does.
It's a powerful conclusion
It is.
to a book that began with disappointment,
Yeah.
but ultimately
Yeah.
offers a message of hope and renewal.
It's amazing how much wisdom and insight is packed into this short book.
It really is.
It really does speak to the human condition
Yeah.
in a
Okay.
timeless way.
This has been such a whirlwind.
Oh, it has.
We've been all over the place.
I know, right?
What struck me most was Malachi's boldness.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't shy away at all from
Mhm.
calling out wrongdoing,
Nope.
even when it's the religious leaders that are falling short.
I think that's what makes prophetic voices so important, don't you?
I do.
They challenge the status quo.
Yeah.
They hold those in power accountable
hmm
and call us to a higher standard.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And even though Malachi was speaking to a specific community thousands of years ago,
Right.
his message still resonates with us today.
It really does.
For example,
Yeah.
when he criticizes the people for offering flawed sacrifices, it makes me think about our own motivations.
Yeah.
You know, are we giving our best in all areas of life,
Mm-hmm.
or are we just going through the motions?
That's such a great point.
Yeah,
It's so easy to fall into a routine,
right.
become complacent,
Yeah.
and lose sight of the heart behind our actions. I mean,
Yeah.
Malachi reminds us that our relationship with God and
Mhm.
with each other
Right.
should be characterized by genuine love,
Right.
respect, and integrity.
Okay, so what about those vivid images he uses?
Oh my goodness.
The dung on the priests' faces,
I know.
the refiner's fire,
Yeah.
the sun of righteousness.
Right.
I mean, it's not exactly subtle imagery,
No.
but it definitely gets your attention.
Oh, it does.
So why do you think he uses that type of imagery?
Well, I think it's like he's using these powerful metaphors
Right.
to shake people out of their apathy,
Okay.
to make them really feel the
Yeah.
weight of their choices.
Yeah.
And I think that's something we can all benefit from, even today.
Yeah.
Sometimes we need a good metaphorical shake-up
Right.
to wake us up and realign our priorities.
So if Malachi were speaking to us today,
Mm.
what aspects of our society do you think he would criticize?
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it is.
But I think he would probably have some strong words
Yeah.
about the rampant materialism
Right.
and consumerism
Uh-huh.
that often overshadows genuine spirituality.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
He might also challenge the way we prioritize individual success over communal well-being.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
so.
You know,
Yeah.
remember how he emphasizes the importance of restoring harmony within families and communities?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He might even call out hypocrisy,
Oh, yeah.
especially among those who claim to be religious,
Right.
but whose actions don't match their words.
And knowing Malachi, he wouldn't mince words about it.
Not at all.
So tell me,
Yeah.
how would he do it?
He would probably use his signature blend
Okay.
of fiery passion
Right.
and poetic imagery
Okay.
to expose injustice, to challenge complacency,
Uh-huh.
and to call us to a higher standard of living.
This deep dive has definitely given me a lot to think about.
Me too.
If this episode has sparked your interest,
Yeah.
I highly encourage you to read the full book of Malachi.
I second that.
It's a short read,
It is.
but it packs a punch.
It really does.
And who knows?
Yeah.
You might even find yourself challenged,
Yeah.
inspired,
Oh,
or even a little bit
yeah.
shaken up
Maybe.
by Malachi's message.
Yeah.
Until next time,
Yes.
keep diving